Hey, what's happening? My name is D, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about St. Martin's Press, Speak Up SMP, and more. But before we get into all of that, I got to give a quick shout out to my Plus Ultra Don't Fretters, my top tier supporters on Patreon, Laughing Cat Dog and JJ Valdez. Thank you so much for your support. You are helping to ensure I'm able to keep creating this content and put it out as frequently as possible. If you also want to help support the channel and gain access to exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, make sure you consider subscribing to my Patreon at patreon.com/don'tfret_, because Don't Fret was already taken. But if not, no worries, but please, from me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Okay, so I've talked about the SMP boycott on this channel a couple of times before, mostly in my community tab and in a couple of shorts. And before we get too deep into this video, I just want to set the record straight. I support the SMP boycott. If you don't, if you're like actively against it or whatever, I don't really care. Like, that's your business. You don't have to tell me about it. This video is not meant to try to convince anybody to participate or guilt trip anybody or anything like that. I personally think that since this has been going on for the last like 10 months, if you're not in, you're just not in. And also, this is not really the space to debate the boycott. I know there's a few people out there that are trying to discredit it, undermine it, spreading misinformation and bad faith arguments. These are the same kind of creeps who stalked and tried to intimidate a black content creator who's played a major part in organizing the boycott. I'm just not really interested. You know, if this is your favorite publisher of all time and it causes you like literal physical pain or pain in your spirit to not talk about these books, like, go ahead. I'm not going to argue with you about it. For me, I support the boycott. I have a relationship with Readers for Accountability, but I don't speak for them. I'm talking about this right now because I'm choosing to. I have done a sketch for Readers for Accountability and may do more in the future, but this video is not like at their request. And full disclosure, for me, participating in this boycott has been very easy to the point where I almost don't really feel like I am. Of the 6 imprints under this boycott, which is St. Martin's Press, St. Martin's Press Griffin, St. Martin's Press Essentials, Minotaur Books, Castle Point Books, and Wednesday Books, I think that's all of them. One title kind of vaguely caught my interest, and even then, not really. What I'm saying is that I already wasn't super interested in what St. Martin's Press was putting out. And it would be like if I gave up chocolate for Lent. I don't really eat chocolate, so like it doesn't really count, you know what I'm saying? So Speak Up SMP is a marketing boycott. It is as simple as just not posting, not sharing on your social medias any titles that come from SMP or any of its imprints. It's my understanding that buying and reading the books is not crossing the picket line, so miss me with that. But what about the authors' nonsense? You can still buy the books, and personally, I think that if SMP cared about the success or failure of their authors, they could, you know, use their marketing budget instead of using the free labor of like influencers and wannabe influencers sharing their titles. And yeah, ARCs cost money to print, PR boxes cost money to put together, but like, make a Facebook ad. That's how I found out about Blood of oh shit, what's it called? A Fate Inked in Blood. All right, and this isn't in my notes, and this might be a cancelable thought, but I find that whole like, but what about the authors, or like authors' careers are your responsibility type sentiments kind of annoying. And like, support authors, support writers, but also like their career isn't necessarily my responsibility or your responsibility. I'm just saying, any artist who decides to make their art a career or something like that, that's a choice that they make, and it's their responsibility. Like, their success and their livelihood is their responsibility. It's not mine. So the boycott started in 2023 after an employee in the marketing department at Wednesday Books posted some racist, Islamophobic sentiments on their personal but public Instagram page. This included some pinkwashing, which is low-key kind of homophobic, and also using the term Pallywood, kind of implying that footage of Palestinians being killed by Israeli soldiers is fake. A Palestinian content creator who goes by Lean reached out to St. Martin's Press a bunch and didn't hear back for a long time. A bunch of other content creators did as well. They were largely ignored, and then I think somebody got back to Lean, lied to her about some stuff, and also didn't address the concerns of systemic racism within Wednesday Books, and the larger St. Martin's Press. So after almost 2 weeks of silence from SMP and Wednesday Books, the boycott started. It's a marketing boycott, as I said before, and it's modeled after the HarperCollins boycott, which was in support of the HarperCollins strike in 2022 to 2023. Now, I don't want to make waves, but sometimes I wonder if people were so much less critical of that boycott because the people that the boycotters were trying to advocate for were easier to relate to for some reason that I can't quite put my finger on. I can't put my finger on. Obviously, I'm just being silly. That's a bad joke. But I did notice in the first couple of months of the St. Martin's Press boycott that people were really, really critical of it, questioning the validity of it, the effectiveness of it in a way that wasn't done for the HarperCollins strike. I do remember around that time, I got blocked by a big-ish book talker who had, talked a big game about, white allyship and disability advocacy and all this stuff, and then started questioning the validity of the SMP boycott and started to beef with former mutuals and said some mad ableist shit. Yeah, that's about as dusted up as I got. I made a video just being sometimes people, you die a hero, you either die a hero. What is that quote? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain type thing. Or some people want to be an activist or an ally until they actually have to advocate for people. Then it's hard and they don't want to. And I do think that's pretty sus that most of the people who are very critical of the SMP boycott that is run and supported by mostly marginalized people are non-marginalized people or people who don't season their chicken, however you want to say that. Some of them want to even tokenize or weaponize their marginalized friends. I have a black friend who doesn't support it, so it must be bogus. Okay, we're not all a monolith, whatever. And some of these critics want to say that Readers for Accountability's demands for the boycott, or not demands for the boycott, but they will boycott until these demands are met. I don't know how to phrase that. Anyway, they say that those demands are unreasonable. And their demands are as follows. 1, address and denounce the Islamophobia/racism from their employee. 2, offer tangible steps for how they're going to mitigate the harm this employee has caused. And 3, address how moving forward they will support and protect their Palestinian, Muslim, and Arab influencers, authors, and readers in addition to their BIPOC readers, influencers, and authors, which to me seems pretty reasonable in response to what was said. And until those demands are met, we're just withholding our free labor of promoting these books. Not trying to punish authors for what their publisher is doing. For the last few months, I haven't been super engaged or involved with discussion around the boycott. I haven't been reviewing or posting about their books, but as we discussed before, not interested. Wouldn't necessarily do good for the channel, and for fun, I don't really read fiction novels for fun. I read a lot of poetry and mental health books. I guess now I read a lot of manga, but still, SMP doesn't have a manga imprint, so. I think a couple of people DM'd me on Instagram asking me to, or suggesting that I review one really popular book from SMP, and I said no, and I explained why, and then they blocked me, and that's fine. And every once in a while I'd see one of my mutuals get dusted up in some internet kerfuffle, if you will. And kerfuffle is such a funny word. They get caught up in some beef or whatever because some creator who's not part of the boycott would post an SMP title, and somebody would comment hey, I don't know if you know this, but that title is from SMP and we're boycotting right now. And that big creator would go on to say that people are harassing them, bullying them, threatening them, or whatever. And from the comments that I saw them reacting to, I didn't really take it that way, but I also can't speak for, there's 10,000 people participating in this boycott. So I don't know, maybe some of them are super rude and hostile about it. I don't know. I doubt it. And there are some people who are are there people really participating in the boycott? Or are they all just afraid of being bullied? If you think that's bullying, you had a really easy life, dog. But I wouldn't get involved in any of those arguments or beef or whatever. Mostly because I'm not super interested. And also, a lot of the drama breaks while I'm at work because I'm on the West Coast. I'm 3 hours behind most of my mutuals who are on the East Coast, or 8 hours behind my mutuals in the UK or whatever. And so all this shit will break out while I'm at work or working on this, and then I'll log on to like Book Talk or Threads, which sucks, by the way. And it's like that scene from Community, you know, the darkest timeline where Troy comes back with the pizza. But more recently, things started to get wicked. A couple of weeks ago, the weekend of August 9th to 11th, 2024, for anybody watching this in the future, I saw a bunch of influencers starting talking on Threads about receiving a PR package from SMP to promote an upcoming title, which I'm not going to name because I don't want to cross the picket line. I'm not gatekeeping information or whatever. I'm just not crossing the picket line. It's pretty easy to find out. Anyways, in this book, there was a vibrator, lube, and honey for some reason, which I don't mix those up, you know, unless you want to and get nasty. Now, I know we all like free stuff, and who doesn't like a surprise? Problem is that these influencers had no idea they were going to receive this PR box. They didn't sign off on or ask for a book, vibrator, lube, or honey. And before we go any further, it's not the items themselves. It is the fact that no one asked if they were cool with receiving those things. And so this reignites people's concern about influencer safety with SMP. And for days, I was reading people just arguing back and forth about consent and dildos and books, and it was crazy. I saw some people talk like, I can't believe that people are saying that this is an issue of consent. I was sexually assaulted once, and I'm super fine with it. It reminded me of like other internet controversies I've seen over the years where consent kind of gets brought up, and then people argue that whatever happened wasn't an issue of consent because something worse happened to them. It's as though they're saying because it's not the most extreme, violent, graphic version of that thing, it doesn't matter. Like somehow what other people go through doesn't matter unless it's as bad as what you went through or maybe worse. And saying something that somebody went through that's not as severe as what you went through is also bad, somehow waters down what you went through. I don't agree with that kind of way of thinking. Like, I just don't think it's all or nothing like that, you know? A hot shower, like the kind where you get under the water and go, and you jump out, is hot. Lava's hotter, though, you know? Like, they're still both hot, though. Burns have degrees is all I'm trying to say. And, like, I don't want to dwell on this part of the video for too long, but I personally think that consent needs to be broadened, not narrowed down. I think it needs to be taken more seriously, and I don't think being more expansive in our understanding of what consent is dismisses or devalues what other people have gone through, but rather helps us to take it more serious and help us have like better boundaries with each other so we can learn how to treat each other better and help more people feel safe. I hate being touched, especially like on the back. And I wish more people would ask me if I'm okay with being hugged before they hug me. And I wish people would take that shit more seriously with me because like I know I'm a dude, but still. And I'm not going to say that that's like assault or anything like that. I'm just saying that like even asking for permission for small things is a good idea. I say all this as a survivor myself. So obviously some people got really weird about this. The same people who sexually harassed that hockey player last year, the people who sexually harassed that 16-year-old dirt biker, they were like, where can I sign up? I can't believe people are mad about a free dildo or whatever, which is weird. That's a weird response. Sending these intimate items could have been really risky, which can maybe sound like a stretch to some people, but what if somebody received this box and they live with like super religious family or an abusive partner? That could have gone over real bad and put that person in a really dangerous, tough situation. I didn't hear about anything like that, thankfully, but still, it could have happened. And for people to be like, oh, you're making up things, whatever. No, that's like what safety is, dog. You go, what if this bad thing could happen? Let's ensure that that doesn't happen with some kind of measure. It's like what seatbelts are, dumbass. And some other people were like, you consented to receiving a dildo when you signed up for their mailing list. No, dog, they signed up for ARCs, not sex toys. Those are two very different things. If you signed up for like a surprise box from like Adam and Eve or something like that, then yeah. But St. Martin's Press is not Adam and Eve. If they were going to pivot, they should tell people. Bringing it back to consent real quick. You can consent to one thing, but that doesn't mean you're consenting to all things. You know what I'm saying? But like, you don't think that's an issue? Okay, fine. You don't think that's an issue. Whether you're just callous Or you don't think it's weird to receive sex toys from strangers you don't know? Or you just really want to be picked by a big publishing company for some reason? They'll never love you, dog. They can't feel love. But it is weird, in my opinion, for any company, even a sex toy company, to send you sex toys unsolicited. Can you imagine if other companies that are being boycotted right now just randomly sent you a sex toy as part of their promo for something? Like McDonald's sends you a McDildo, Starbucks sends you a Frappuccino. I saw one post on Threads that was like, other PR boxes have had dildos in them. I don't see what the big deal is. That doesn't make it better, dog. That just, if anything, it makes it weirder. Then I guess things kept getting more wicked because on August 16th, things reach a breaking point and SMP puts out a public statement for the first time in months addressing all of this. Except it doesn't address any of it. Let's read it, shall we? We'd like to make a statement to our publishing community about who we are and what we stand for. The St. Martin's Publishing Group is committed to publishing a wide variety of books from many viewpoints and perspectives. We condemn racism in all forms, including Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. This is a value of our company and one we hold ourselves accountable to every day. We want authors, readers, media professionals, social media influencers, booksellers, librarians, and employees to feel respected, in particular to have their privacy protected. Some have questioned our values and made allegations about our data privacy and other practices, none of which are accurate. We have responded to emails sent to us directly and answered the questions to the best of our ability. We took the claims and concerns seriously and thoroughly investigated all of them. Our investigation did not find anything to support the claims. We shared this information via email and in response to inquiries through our anonymous reporting system. We take privacy seriously as detailed in our company's privacy notice, and if someone wants us to stop contacting them, they let us know through our Privacy Choices portal. Link to our privacy notice is in our bio. We appreciate all the support and positive feedback we've received these past few months, and we want to thank you for partnering with us to fulfill our publishing mission of informing, entertaining, and inspiring our readers from all walks of life. A lot of my mutuals, Readers for Accountability, not happy with this response. It doesn't really address anything specifically. It's very vague. It rings very hollow in my opinion. And the line about we investigated it and we found we did nothing wrong just kind of reminds me of that TikTok sound.
I didn't do fucking shit. I didn't rig shit. I didn't fucking do that. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about any of this. I'm done. Do what you want. Pull the plug.
Part of that is because, like, you investigate yourself, you're not really being held accountable, you know what I'm saying? Alana and I were joking about it, and we were like, oh, it's like if your toxic ex was like, I thought about it, and I did nothing wrong when I cheated on you. Personally, I'm still surprised they said anything at all, although I guess they didn't really say anything in this post, so I guess they still have said nothing. So I guess the boycott continues. Again, for me, I feel more like a spectator, and making this video I feel more like a commentator than an active participant. SMP doesn't know who I am. I'm a nobody in the book space, so like they've never offered me anything or asked to collaborate. So I've never had to refuse anything. I already wasn't reading their titles because I don't think they make anything that would be good for this channel or of personal interest to me. And I say that to really set the record straight that I'm not trying to posture myself as like a book talk activist who's being super brave and avoiding the temptation of the sweet, sweet brand deals, or talking about a book that would just make me so demure and cutesy and mindful or whatever. I don't actually know what that trend is about. I've just heard it a lot recently. I'm sorry if I just pissed somebody off. Actually, I'm not sorry. You can just deal with that. So yeah, I just want to make this video to talk about it, provide some commentary, maybe draw a little more attention to it, and direct people to r4acollective.org so you can get more information, see the screenshots, learn how you can participate, sign the petition, all that shit. Again, they didn't ask me to make this video, and I'm not trying to convince you to join. I'm just letting you know where you can learn more if you want to. Everything I said is me. Just me. Don't bother Readers for Accountability and be like, hey man, come get your boy because you didn't like something that I said. That's on me. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you to my super duper don't fretters, Lauren, Desi, Cassie, and Oliver. You're helping to ensure I'm able to keep creating content and put it out as frequently as possible. If you also want to help support the channel and gain access to exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, make sure you consider subscribing to my Patreon at patreon.com/don'tfret_. There you get an extra rant review video from me once per month, as well as access to my private Discord server where you can chat with me, a bunch of really lovely people. We do a monthly book club where we meet up on Zoom and talk about a book we read. It's a really good time. We end up just joking around and having a laugh for 2 hours once a month, and one of my patrons hurts my feelings every time, and it's very funny. Every time. It's so hurtful. So if any of that sounds interesting or exciting to you, make sure you consider subscribing to my Patreon, and if not, no worries, but please, for me, before you go, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. Thank you again so much for watching. My name is D, and don't fret, I'll see you next time. Peace out.